I'm going to tell you one more time and you're going to go to jail.
Is that right?
Lower your voice or you're going to jail.
Listen to this guy.
If cops feel the liberty to treat the elderly like this...
Because you're on a power trip.
Because when I give you an order, I don't like people testing me. I don't like people not following my orders.
Nazis either. Okay.
How in the hell do you think they're prepared to treat you?
Get on the ground!
No.
You just left Walmart. Do you need to be arrested right now? Come on. Come on.
I'm going home.
You guys are okay?
Yep, we're good.
You're a little muddy, dude. I think we're doing
A little
inspections.
bloody, a little muddy, that's how it works.
Yeah. Is the blood on her?
Yeah, that's our blood.
Sergeant Gibson responded to a traffic incident with Mr. Lick Vu in October. Vu is 71 years old, taking Vu to the ground and slamming his head into the concrete, causing a brain bleed.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You'll be okay.
In my leisure time last night, I was catching up on some First Amendment auditing videos, and I saw one of the last videos by the civil rights lawyer, and I saw this video where the Sacramento police shoved a 71-year-old fragile woman, breaking her hip, causing her to be hospitalized for over 3 months, during which time she lost her husband and a whole bunch of bad things happened to her. And I'm just sitting here going, I can't believe that I and others have to make videos like this. If you want to give tyranny a foothold, then men of good conscience just sit there and say nothing. I can't say nothing. I couldn't even sleep last night thinking about this. I was looking at multiple videos dealing with this exact issue. And I was thinking, you know what? Actions speak louder than words. What profession that you know of, any profession, I don't care if you're talking about construction, lineman, plumbing, whatever profession you're talking about, the hospitality industry, restaurants, hotels, what profession can get away with roadside theft, quota keeping, deception, disrespect, unprofessionalism, cowardice, brutality, cruelty, and general evil? What profession can get away with that? If these actions, for example, were the perpetual hallmarks of, say, McDonald's, if it was a systemic problem in the McDonald's corporation, brutality, they were constantly stealing from their customers, they were constantly belittling them, they were unprofessional, they were tasing them. If this happened at UPS or Walmart or an Apple store, it wouldn't be long before these stores just shut down. But somehow the law enforcement profession that exhibits all of these actions on a continual basis, somehow they remain in operation. And it's demonstrated every day just how cowardly and cruel and evil they can be. And as far as the elderly, if they're going to treat the elderly like this, what do you think they're going to do to you? And this isn't just relegated to this one woman in Sacramento. Do you remember this right here? This is Lick Vu. He's in midair right here. He's got his hands, his arms chicken. This is a 71-year-old cancer patient from Vietnam who's got his hands tied behind his back by Oklahoma City Sergeant, not just a regular patrolman, but Sergeant Joseph Gibson. We're fractions of a second away from Lick Vu, that's this guy's name, from his skull slamming the pavement simply for a traffic violation and a mere disagreement. The man who did this, the man who's in the costume, should be in jail. Probably, I would argue, for the rest of his life, because if he's going to do this to a 71-year-old fragile cancer patient, he will do this at the drop of a hat to anybody. He is a danger to society. And then we constantly talk about her. This is Karen Garner. She's a 72-year-old dementia patient who was severely criticized and brutalized and mocked by Loveland, Colorado police officers Austin Hopp and Daria Jalali. The whole thing was approved by their sergeant, Philip Metzger. And yeah, while Austin Hopp and Daria Jalali, Austin Hopp got a couple years in jail. Daria Jalali only spent 45 days in jail, and they lost their police certification. But if we did what Austin Hopp and Daria Jalali did, and if we stood by and approved it like Phil Metzger did, we would be in jail, and rightly so. Because again, if you're going to do this to the weakest among us, it's just a matter of time before these psychopaths do it again. And then I don't know if you remember this guy. This is 69-year-old veteran Alan Kidd, who was severely abused and arrested by DeLand police officer Johan Malera. Let me just give you a little bit of this.
Okay. Have a seat over there. Get away from me. Sit over there.
You're pushing me away from you?
Yeah, I don't need you stepping up to me like that. Sit down.
Stepping up to you?
Sit down, or I'm going to sit you down.
I wasn't stepping up to you, sir.
Sit down. Sit down. Do you understand that? When I tell you to do something, you do it.
Yeah, is that right?
Okay.
You're on a power trip? Is that what it is?
No.
Okay.
I need you to listen. That's what's up. So what's going on with you today?
Nothing. I'm just standing on the street corner talking to this guy I just met, and all of a sudden you're pushing me down and being real physical with me.
You know why?
I don't understand. No, I don't know why.
Lower your voice. Lower your voice.
Really?
Okay?
Do I have to do this?
Yes, I'm telling you the voice.
Okay.
Listen to me.
Because
I'm going to tell you one more time. I'm going to tell you one more time, and you're going to go to jail.
Is that right?
Lower your voice, or you're going to jail.
Listen to this guy. Okay. Do you believe in this?
Lower your voice, or you're going to jail.
I'm not.
Oh, you're going to go to
increasing
jail.
my base.
So listen, we are going to start over again, so you can learn. Go ahead and keep moving forward. I'm going to lay you out on the ground.
I'm just trying to get more comfortable. Okay.
You are going to calm down, and we're going to have a normal conversation, and you're going to understand why I'm here.
Okay,
if you shut up and listen for a minute, you will understand.
I'm ready.
We were called here because you were here, supposedly yelling at the cars and causing a scene.
Negative.
Okay. Are you going to stop talking so I can explain to you?
Okay.
You're about to go to jail.
I wasn't yelling at
You're
any cars.
about to go to jail. That is the last time that I tell you. Next time, you're going to have handcuffs on you and you're going to jail. We were called here based on what's going on. Whether it's true or not, it is not. I have no clue. That's why I'm here, to figure out what's going on with you. When you walk up to an officer and you get that close to an officer, it is not good. Why? Because now you're in my personal space. So I am telling you to back up, and when you don't back up,
for you,
yes, when I give you an order, right? Because when I give you an order,
because you're on a power trip,
because when I give you an order,
is that right?
Because when I give you an order and you don't follow it, that's what happens. I told you to back up and you didn't. I told you back up again, or I'm going to sit you down, and you didn't. So I sat you down.
I don't understand why you're doing this. Why you're pushing me
because
around.
I don't like people testing me. I don't like people not following my orders.
Nazis either. Okay. Are you done? Can I show you my ID?
Give me the arm. Give me your arm.
Can I show you my ID?
Hold on, let's get his backpack off. You understand that? Yes.
Kidd spent 2 days in jail for resisting an officer without violence. The guy literally did nothing wrong. Alan is absolutely right. This officer is on a power trip, and that's what happens to officers. Their power goes to their head. That is the face of a psychopath. And then there's 75-year-old Michael Clark, who is abused by Nicholas Hanning, who was fired from the Idaho Springs, Colorado Police Department. Now, this is an interesting one also because there was a disturbance call. They knocked on this guy's door. 75-year-old Michael Clark comes to the door. He grabs this sawtooth machete looking thing. I'll show you this. I can't show you the whole thing because it's Inside Edition and they got their stuff copyrighted. But anyway, he comes to the door with this sawtooth sword. I'll show you some of it.
Put it down! Put it down!
They tell him to put it down. He turns around and he puts it up on this shelf right here.
You can see Clark placing the sword on a bookshelf.
Now he comes back to the door unarmed. They're giving him rapid fire commands. The female has her gun trained on him. The male officer has his taser. He ends up deploying his taser on this guy and he falls backwards
to the floor.
I'm not going to show him hitting. Well, I guess I did show him hitting the ground, but you got the point. He got tased. And then check this out. They're so deceptive. They drag him out of his apartment. And then the cop goes back in to where he put the sawtooth machete.
A stunning moment. You can see one cop entering Clark's apartment and grabbing the sword.
Okay, now I'm going to just pause it right here because, again, they have copyright. And if I play too many seconds in a row, then they give me a copyright strike. But you can hear him dropping it on the floor near Michael Clark to give the impression that, oh, he came to the door with the sawtooth machete and he was threatening our lives. And that's why I deployed the taser. Listen to this. You can hear it drop on the floor.
He drops it near the victim. You can hear it hit the floor. Was he planting evidence? The officer then appears to take a photograph of the scene with his cell phone.
So he takes a picture of the scene with his cell phone, which includes Michael Clark and the sawtooth machete. And this chick right here is the same person who represented Karen Garner and her family in Loveland, Colorado, and effectuated a $3 million settlement. But what really kills me is when they do these news reports and they neglect to mention that, yeah, while there was one cop who did the evil act, the other cops stood around and let the evil act happen without interfering with said evil act. Check this out.
Pushed onto the street, a Sacramento County deputy now out of a job.
Your reporter covering Sacramento County, Madison Keevy, has that son's plea for change. Madison.
Well, the woman's son says his mother suffers from mental illness and at times doesn't know where she is. Last October, the night she was taken to jail, he says it was likely for trespassing because she was lost.
And that they blur the faces of all these officers is just enough to make your blood boil.
He says he hopes his mother's injuries
Every one of these cops, every one, jobs lost, pensions liquidated, assets liquidated to pay the family that they abused and caused serious harm and suffering, and they should go to jail for the rest of their lives. Because again, I will say this until the cows come home. These people need to be in jail because they are a threat to society. They're an ever-present danger to any community that they live in.
Lesson for law enforcement to help, not hurt.
Have a good night.
Body cam video from last October captures the moment a Sacramento County Sheriff's deputy pushes a 71-year-old woman to the ground, releasing her from custody.
Thank you. Okay. Have a good night.
You'll be okay.
When you saw the videos...
Now wait, before we go finish this right here, I want to show you, I will read to you what the civil rights lawyer pulled up as far as the Sacramento Sheriff's Office policy manual is concerned and what those police officers who were standing around should have done when they saw this evil act happen. But I want to show you this right here. Listen to this few seconds. This is Sergeant Amir Gandhi, who is a spokesperson for the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office. Listen to what this liar says as he's sitting there with Internal Affairs.
So obviously we've made the news, some recent events, not in a really great light. And a big criticism is, why aren't you guys talking about it? And why don't you have a statement? And the short answer is it's under investigation. It sounds like a cop-out to a lot of people, but it's not.
But it is. It is a cop-out. Now listen to what this chick says.
Tell me why.
Well, the reason is these investigations are very complex and they take a lot of time. We need to be very thorough. And to, protect the integrity of that investigation, we really shouldn't be talking about something until the full...
Tell me what the complexity is when you view a video like this, where these law enforcement officers who are trusted to protect and serve the community, and most of them in the prime of their life and in the strength of the pinnacle of strength of humanity, preys upon and does disgusting things to and acts as cruel as you can possibly act to another fellow human being who is as fragile as you can possibly get. Where's the complexity in that? How long does this investigation have to play out when we have body camera evidence from multiple angles of what the cops did, what the cops who could have done something didn't do, and the fact that they have, thanks to the civil rights lawyer, this policy that says that you have a duty. It's your duty. It's your obligation. This is what you do. You intercede when you see an officer doing something bad to somebody you were supposed to be protecting and serving. And the fact that this is in writing makes their complacency and their inactivity and their failure to interfere even worse. says any officer present and observing another law enforcement officer or an employee using force that is clearly beyond that which is necessary, as determined by an objectively reasonable officer under the circumstances, shall, when in a position to do so, and there were 5 officers who were in the position to come against one police officer, they would have had numbers on their side. All there would have been is 1 or 2 coming forward going, dude, that's not right. You should not, I can't believe you just did that. And then incarcerate that guy or take away his utility belt and his gun and put him in a holding cell. When in a position to do so, intercede as defined by Government Code 7286 to prevent the use of unreasonable force. But then it further says that there's a penalty if you fail to intercede. So not only are they required to intercede, if they don't, there's a penalty per their policy, which says an officer who has received the required training on the duty to intercede and then fails to act to intercede when required by law, this is per your own law, officers, may be disciplined in the same manner as the officer who used force beyond that which is necessary. So even by their own policy, every one of these officers at a minimum should have been fired. But you know how I feel about it, and I know you guys feel the same way. Justice can only be served if they're fired, their assets are liquidated, given to the victim, and they go to jail to protect the rest of us. I mean, you want to protect and serve, don't you? One of the ways you protect and serve is you get the predators off the street, including the predators who are wearing uniforms. But wait, that's not all. Not only is there a duty to intercede, not only is there a penalty if you don't intercede, there's also a duty to report excessive force, which they did not. Any officer who observes a law enforcement officer use force that potentially exceeds, this definitely exceeds what the officer reasonably believes to be necessary shall immediately report these observations to a superior. And guess what? They didn't. Now let's pick up where we left off.
What went through your mind as her son?
To throw an old lady out like that in front of your colleagues, you know, there's 6 of them there.
Even the son is kind of acting low key and milquetoast. If they did, I mean, I don't even know how I would act if they did this to my mom. How would you act if they did this to your mom? I can't even comprehend what I would do. It's almost like you would be out of your mind. You would be so outraged at what happened. You couldn't sit straight in your seat. You couldn't sleep at night. Look at this.
Her out airborne like a drunk out of a bar.
Look, you don't even do that to a 20 or 30-year-old. You don't do that to anybody. She's 71.
It didn't make any sense.
Yes. We spoke to the woman's son, John Siamutis. He's put his life on hold to take care of his mother.
That kind of a hip injury at 71 years old, it's probably something that it's not easy to bounce back from.
You need to stop talking.
She fractured her femur in the hip socket. Think about that. Fractured femur in the hip socket. That's how extensive the damage was from that one push. And then they left her out there. You wouldn't even leave a hurting dog out there. They just walked away completely callous, no conscience from any of the 6 officers. If that ain't sobering and scary, I mean, if I lived in Sacramento and I knew that these were my protectors and servants, I know they're all like that, but we have this on video. They actually have a history of doing this now. Every one of them are okay with this. Every one of them. I would be a little concerned if I lived in Sacramento.
He says she spent 3 months in the hospital, released in January with complications. And now she's using a walker and lives in pain.
And while she was in the hospital, her husband died. And she didn't get a chance to see him because of what this cop did, who only got fired.
How do you throw an old lady out at 71? And
no conscience.
In the video you see, they say you're free to go. She turns around to go and she's even surprised. She goes, oh. She goes to leave and then they force her out.
Start walking this way.
Don't push me.
Shut the up.
What?
We're escorting you outside because you can't go without assaulting my partner.
Multiple angles of the moment she's pushed to the ground. resulting in the deputy getting fired after a months-long internal investigation.
And if you watch the extended body cam footage of this, I can't even comprehend them talking to an elderly person or even a young person like they did. You know, they're supposed to be professional. They're on the clock. They have a duty to uphold and protect and serve the Constitution of the United States and everybody who's supposed to get freedoms that are derived from that. Mind-blowing.
The findings now sent to the Sacramento County District Attorney, the office that will decide if the deputy...
Look at this guy's face. Look at this guy. Just look at his face. Look at his face. Oh, well. Let's go back inside. The game's probably on and our pizza's getting cold.
Deputy will face any charges.
We just want the public to rest assured that these actions don't reflect the views of law enforcement. They certainly don't reflect the views of the sheriff's office.
They certainly do, because you had 100% of the cops on duty not interfere, not report the egregious behavior, and are worthy of the same punishment that the initial guy did who executed the excessive force on the 71-year-old woman that they broke the hip of. It is certainly systemic. This does reflect the actions of the Sacramento Police Department because every one of them were in on it and not one stopped it.
For John, who says he's been out for answers since this night, he hopes his mom's case may lead to change.
Hopefully something gets fixed at that jail and, you know, a lesson to learn maybe across the country for that reason. But
so this woman right here, Licked Vu, Karen Garner, Alan Kidd, Michael Clark, all elderly people who got abused and brutalized in the cruelest manner possible by our protectors and servants. Who's next? Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comments section below. If you want to help this channel grow, just give this video a like, share this video with everybody you know. Share this video with a Thin Blue Line supporter. Subscribe if you want. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you sharing, and I will see you in the next video.